Elon Musk, the man who wants to send us to Mars, while also somehow embodying the very worst parts of Twitter. He's the techno-king, the meme lord, the guy who named his kid something that sounds like a drunken Wi-Fi password. But behind the quirky genius lies a troubling reality. Welcome to our deep dive into the untold stories behind Elon Musk's success. Now, we all know Silicon Valley has a bit of a work-life balance. What's that? Problem. But Elon Musk seems to have taken this to a whole new level, especially at his companies Tesla and SpaceX. Think of it less like working late, and more like living at the office. We're talking 100-hour work weeks, people sleeping under their desks, which, by the way, is less inspiring hustle and more potential fire hazard. And forget about weekends, holidays, or, seeing your family. Those are apparently for mere mortals, not spacefaring entrepreneurs. The pressure cooker environment has led to widespread burnout, with some former employees comparing their time at Tesla and SpaceX to being in a cult. And look, I'm no expert, but I'm pretty sure cult isn't usually the vibe you want your company to give off. But hey, at least those overworked employees can take comfort in knowing they're helping Musk achieve his dreams, right? Well, until they're suddenly laid off en masse, which Musk is also known to do with the ruthlessness of a reality TV show villain. Remember that whole mass layoff thing we just mentioned? Yeah, about that. See, Musk isn't exactly known for his loyalty. He seems to operate on the principle of what have you launched lately? And if the answer isn't a car into orbit or something equally impressive, well, you might find yourself out of a job. In 2023 alone, there have been multiple rounds of layoffs at Twitter, with thousands of employees shown the door, often with little warning and even less compassion. Some were even locked out of their company accounts before they could say, "Wait, I have rent to pay." Now you might be thinking, but John, surely there's a good reason for all this, right? And maybe there is. Maybe it's all part of some grand four-dimensional chess move that we mere mortals just can't comprehend. Or maybe, just maybe, it's a sign of something more concerning, a disregard for the well-being of the people who helped build his empire. But hey, who needs job security when you're busy colonizing Mars, right? Elon Musk loves to portray himself as a self-made billionaire, a maverick who built his empire from scratch. And while there's no denying his ambition and drive, the truth is, he's had a little help along the way. And by a little help, I mean billions of dollars in government subsidies. That's right, folks. The same man who once tweeted, "Giving people money for doing nothing is bad," has built his companies on the back of taxpayer funding. Tesla, SpaceX, SolarCity, they've all benefited from generous government handouts, tax breaks, and contracts. Now, there's nothing inherently wrong with companies receiving government support. It can be a valuable tool for promoting innovation and economic growth. But it's the hypocrisy that really gets my goat. It's one thing to accept billions in public funding, but it's quite another to then turn around and criticize social safety nets for everyday people. It's like a dog eating your homework and then blaming you for not hiding it well enough. Let's be clear, folks. Musk isn't alone in benefiting from government largesse. Corporate welfare is practically an American pastime. But his vocal opposition to social programs, while simultaneously lining his own pockets with taxpayer money, is a special kind of chutzpah. He's called universal basic income a dangerous idea, and implied that people who rely on government assistance are lazy. But apparently it's perfectly acceptable for a multi-billionaire to rely on government handouts to fund his space exploration dreams. Look, I'm all for capitalism and entrepreneurship, but let's call a spade a space shovel, shall we? Musk's companies wouldn't be where they are today without significant government support, and that's not a criticism, it's a fact. But if you're going to preach about the evils of government handouts, maybe, just maybe, don't build your empire on them. It's a bad look, Elon, almost as bad as that time you compared yourself to Gandhi. Let's talk about Elon and the stock market. Elon's got this unique ability to move markets with a single tweet. He's like the Beyoncé of billionaires, dropping cryptic messages that send investors into a frenzy. Remember Dogecoin? He'd tweet about it incessantly, calling it the people's crypto, and its price would skyrocket. But then, Musk went on Saturday Night Live and called Dogecoin a hustle. The price crashed. People who had poured their life savings into Dogecoin were left holding the bag. The SEC has a love-hate relationship with Musk, investigating him multiple times for his tweets. Tesla's stock price has been a roller coaster ride, with Musk cheerleading the whole way. He's a brilliant engineer and marketer, using hype to build a company worth more than almost any other car manufacturer. When it comes to Elon Musk and the market, it's a wild ride. Remember that whole self-driving cars are just around the corner thing? Yeah, about that. See, Elon's been promising us the autonomous driving future for years now. Remember that time he said Tesla cars would be able to drive themselves across the country by the end of 2017? Spoiler alert, they didn't. Then he said it would happen in 2018. Didn't happen. 2019? Nope. 2020? You get the idea. And look, I'm not saying that Tesla hasn't made progress in autonomous driving technology. They have, but there's a big difference between progress and fully self-driving, which, by the way, is what Tesla literally calls its software. The problem is, when you call something fully self-driving, people tend to think it means the car can, fully drive itself without any human intervention, which is not the case at all. In fact, there have been multiple accidents, some fatal, involving Tesla's autopilot system. And then there's Mars. Ah, Mars, that red, dusty, and decidedly not Earth planet that Elon Musk seems hell-bent on colonizing. He's talked about building a city on Mars, sending 1 million people to Mars by 2050, and even terraforming the planet to make it more habitable. All very ambitious, even for a guy who once shot a car into space just for the heck of it. But let's be real for a second, shall we? Getting to Mars is hard. Really hard. Landing on Mars? Even harder. Building a self-sustaining colony on a planet with no breathable atmosphere, freezing temperatures, and a distinct lack of readily available pizza delivery, that's next-level hard. And while SpaceX has made impressive strides in rocket technology, they've also had their fair share of, shall we say, rapid unscheduled disassemblies, which is a fancy way of saying their rockets have a tendency to explode. Not exactly the kind of track record that inspires confidence in a multiplanetary species. Now, let's talk about the human cost of Elon Musk's ambitions. Because behind those shiny electric cars and rockets to Mars, there's a workforce that's allegedly been subjected to some pretty brutal conditions. We're talking long hours, unrealistic deadlines, and a pressure cooker environment that would make a pressure cooker feel stressed. Former employees have described Tesla's factories as modern-day sweatshops, with grueling production schedules and a culture of fear. There have been reports of injuries, burnout, and even people sleeping on the factory floor just to keep up with the demands. And it's not just the factory workers. Engineers, managers, even interns have reported working insane hours, often under intense pressure from Musk himself. There are stories of Musk sleeping under his desk, sending emails at all hours of the night, and expecting everyone else to do the same. But it's not just the long hours and demanding work environment. Tesla has also been hit with multiple lawsuits alleging discrimination and harassment. Black employees have described experiencing racial slurs and discriminatory treatment. Women have come forward with allegations of sexual harassment and a hostile work environment. Now, to be fair, Tesla has denied these allegations, and it's important to note that these are just allegations. But where there's smoke, there's usually at least a fire pit that Elon Musk is using to roast marshmallows while tweeting about how he's going to colonize Mars. The sheer number of lawsuits and allegations against Tesla paints a disturbing picture of a company that may be prioritizing its bottom line over the well-being of its employees. And that's a problem, because no amount of innovation, no electric car, no rocket to Mars is worth sacrificing the health and dignity of the people who make it all happen. All right, strap in folks, because we're diving headfirst into the dumpster fire that was the Twitter takeover. After purchasing Twitter for $44 billion, Musk brought his unique management style. Gone were the days of catered lunches and kombucha on tap. Musk seemed determined to turn Twitter HQ into a real-life episode of Survivor. Mass layoffs ensued with entire departments gutted. And if you thought that was bad, it gets worse. Musk decided to mess with the blue checkmark, turning it into a subscription. Now anyone could get it for $8 a month. The result? A chaotic free-for-all with rampant impersonation. It was like watching a slow-motion train wreck. Advertisers tried to stop the madness, but Musk doubled down, accusing critics of trying to destroy free speech. Free speech doesn't mean freedom from consequences. Brands pulled their ads, and Twitter's finances tanked. Twitter's finances started to resemble the Titanic after it met that unfortunate iceberg. This wasn't a conspiracy by the woke mob. This was basic economics at play. Advertisers want large, engaged audiences and brand safety. Twitter became a digital shouting match in a dumpster fire. The result? Financial woes, plummeting user engagement, and bad press. In short, the Twitter takeover was a masterclass in how not to run a social media platform. So, we've established that Elon Musk isn't exactly known for his subtlety. But even by his standards, his views on population control and AI are enough to make your head spin faster than a Tesla on autopilot. On the one hand, we have Musk, the self-proclaimed champion of humanity, sounding the alarm about declining birth rates. He's like a walking, talking PSA for procreation, warning that we're on the brink of a demographic apocalypse. And he's putting his money where his mouth is, fathering a brood of children with names that sound like they were generated by an AI programmed on a steady diet of Greek mythology and heavy metal lyrics. But then, just when you think you've got a handle on his stance, he hits you with a curveball. You see, Musk is also deeply afraid of artificial intelligence. He's warned that AI could become more powerful than humans, potentially leading to our extinction. He's even compared developing AI to summoning the demon. Now you might be thinking, isn't that a bit hypocritical? Fearing a population collapse while simultaneously worrying about AI taking over? And you'd be right, it is a tad rich, even for a man who once tried to sell a $500 flamethrower. But it gets even weirder when you factor in Neuralink, Musk's brain-computer interface company. Neuralink is developing implantable chips that aim to merge human consciousness with artificial intelligence. The goal, according to Musk, is to enhance human capabilities and ultimately prevent us from being outsmarted by our own creations. It's like something straight out of a Black Mirror episode, only with fewer witty one-liners and more existential dread. Now, I'm no neuroscientist, but even I can see the potential ethical minefield here. We're talking about implanting devices in people's brains, technology that could potentially be used to read minds, control thoughts, or even alter personalities. And who's behind this brave new world? Oh, just the same guy who can't seem to decide if he wants more humans or if he's afraid of what we might become. It's a level of cognitive dissonance that's almost impressive, in a watching a car crash in slow motion kind of way. And it's just another example of how Elon Musk, for all his brilliance and ambition, can sometimes seem like a walking, talking paradox wrapped in a riddle inside a $44 billion Twitter acquisition gone wrong. Now, let's be honest, folks. Who doesn't love a good celebrity feud? It's the reason we have entire websites dedicated to documenting the petty squabbles of the rich and famous. And in the realm of public spats, Elon Musk is like that kid in school who always tried to start a fight in the playground, except instead of spitballs, he uses Twitter. Over the years, Musk has amassed a veritable rogues gallery of rivals, from tech titans like Bill Gates and Mark Zuckerberg to politicians, journalists, and even a British cave diver who had the audacity to criticize his ill-conceived submarine rescue plan. And when I say criticize, I mean Musk accused the diver of being a pedo guy, a baseless and frankly disgusting accusation that he later had to apologize for in court. But that's the thing about Musk. He seems to have a real knack for picking fights, even when it's clear he's in the wrong. It's like he's incapable of backing down, even when it's in his best interest. He's like a Twitter-fueled bull in a china shop, and everyone's just waiting to see what he'll break next. Now you might be thinking, surely someone as intelligent and successful as Elon Musk must realize that these public spats are bad for his image. And you'd be right, they are. But here's the thing, some people speculate that it's all part of a calculated strategy. You see, in the world of personal branding, there's a saying, all press is good press, and Musk, with his knack for generating controversy, certainly knows how to keep his name in the headlines. Every Twitter tirade, every public feud, it all adds to the mystique of Elon Musk, the rebellious genius who doesn't play by the rules. And let's be honest, it's a strategy that's worked pretty well for him so far. He's cultivated a massive online following. His companies are valued in the billions, and he's become a global icon, even if that icon is often portrayed as a real-life Tony Stark with a Twitter addiction. So are Musk's feuds simply the result of a thin-skinned billionaire with too much time on his hands? Or are they all part of a master plan to keep his name on everyone's lips, even if those lips are forming the words, "What is Elon Musk tweeting about now?" Only time will tell. But one thing's for sure, it's going to be an entertaining ride. Space, the final frontier. It's where humanity has always looked for inspiration, for answers, and for a brief shining moment, for tang. But lately it feels like space is becoming less about those lofty ideals and more about who has the deepest pockets and the shiniest rocket. And no one embodies that shift quite like Elon Musk and SpaceX. Now don't get me wrong, reusable rockets are bloody impressive. But when one company starts to have a near monopoly on getting things into orbit, it's worth asking some tough questions. because we're essentially handing over the keys to the cosmos to a guy who once used a Tesla launch to fling a car into the void. This is about the future of space exploration, scientific research, and potentially humanity's survival. We're talking about ceding control of a realm that belongs to all of us, to corporations with their own agendas and bottom lines. And that, my friends, is a risk far greater than any exploding rocket. Let's be honest, Elon Musk is a walking, talking, tweeting PR machine. He's the guy who can launch himself into an online tantrum about pronouns 1 minute and then unveil a flamethrower-wielding robot the next, and somehow people still line up to buy what he's selling. He's cultivated this image of the maverick genius, the real-life Tony Stark, who's going to single-handedly save humanity from itself. And you know what? It's a damn good story. It's compelling, it's aspirational, and it's probably best enjoyed with a healthy dose of skepticism. Because behind the carefully crafted persona, the first principles thinking, and the constant stream of memes, there's a more complicated truth. Musk is a brilliant marketer and a shrewd businessman, no doubt, but he's also a master of spin, adept at deflecting criticism and controlling the narrative around his companies and himself. He understands the power of a good story, of tapping into our desire for heroes and progress, and he's more than happy to play the part, as long as it keeps the money flowing and the fans enthralled. Now, Musk loves to tout his engineering prowess, to remind everyone that he's not just a CEO, he's a hands-on visionary, down in the trenches with his team, soldering circuits and writing code. And while there's no denying he's a smart guy, the reality of his technical contributions is, shall we say, open to interpretation. He's been accused of taking credit for the work of others, of exaggerating his role in the development of Tesla's vehicles and SpaceX's rockets. And look, I'm not an engineer. I'm barely qualified to change a light bulb. But when former employees and industry experts start raising eyebrows, it's worth paying attention. Because the myth of Elon Musk, the engineer, the inventor, the lone genius toiling away in his factory, is a powerful one. It feeds into the cult of personality that surrounds him, the belief that he's not just building companies, he's building the future. But like any good magic trick, the more you look behind the curtain, the more you realize it's all smoke and mirrors. So there you have it. The good, the bad, and the utterly bewildering world of Elon Musk. He's a man of contradictions, a visionary who seems hell-bent on dragging us all into his chaotic orbit, whether we like it or not. He's a reminder that progress is rarely straightforward, that innovation often comes at a cost, and that sometimes the most disruptive forces are also the most unpredictable. And as Musk continues to push the boundaries of technology, ethics, and good taste, one thing's for sure, it's going to be a wild ride. Thanks for watching. If you found this video eye-opening, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into the world's most influential figures. And be sure to leave a comment below with your thoughts on Elon Musk's controversial journey. Is he a genius, a villain, or maybe, just maybe, a bit of both?